Happy game day, everybody. We hope that you are all doing super well. I am Kendall Smith alongside of Wes Mitchell, and we are here for the game day chat. We don't really have a name for this segment, so if you're watching, please comment down below whether you're on YouTube, whether you're on the Insiders Forum, a name for this show, because we are going to be doing it every week. And we're going to be giving you kind of our final thoughts, the final message from the one and only Wes Mitchell before the Gamecocks take to the field week in and week out. But Wes, big week this week, South Carolina taking on Eastern Illinois in their season opener, the start of the Shane Beamer era. It's officially game day. So describe to me in one word, what are your emotions about today's game in particular?
Oh, man, one word. I would say excited. Just because it's here, we've heard all offseason about the changes in the program and, what Beamer wants to implement, top to bottom changes and stuff like that. Now we get to go see it. I was actually walking around Columbia this morning. Everywhere you go, there's a little bit of that extra buzz in the air. I think fans are excited. They're ready to get out there. And we at Gamecock Central are very excited as well.
I am so excited. As a student at the school, I feel like the word for me is refreshed because I'm a junior this year. So we've spent a couple of years kind of down in the dumps, having a few rough seasons to start off my college career. But I feel refreshed. I don't know how long this honeymoon phase with Shane Beamer is going to last. Obviously, tonight we'll see how long it takes before the first Fire Beamer tweet comes out. But regardless, feeling refreshed, feeling excited for tonight as well. But speaking of excited, Wes, who are you most excited to watch take to the field tonight for the Gamecocks?
Yeah, and I'm going to go ahead and answer that question for you. One 3 and out on the field for the offense, and there will be the first negative tweet about South Carolina football today. But that's part of it, I guess. If you have passionate fans, then people will get upset. And, Kendall, you've seen what? You've seen 6 wins in your 2-year college careers. So I get it. Yeah. I like refreshed. I think that's a great word because it seems like the fan base has been re-energized a little bit, like the hope had been gone a little bit. So yeah, I think for a lot of people, it's a new day for them going to Williams-Brice Stadium tonight. And you know what, man? I think Marshawn Lloyd is the guy. I could probably list 10, 15 kids that you're just happy for them to get their chance. But Marshawn Lloyd, with what he went through last year and all the sort of attention that was going to be put on his debut, this time last year before he got hurt, he's worked really hard to get back to this point to where he can go play and show what he can do. This was a 5-star running back, literally one of the best prospects in the entire country when South Carolina signed him. He's going to get a chance to go show all of South Carolina, the fan base and beyond what he can do today. So I'm excited for Marshawn Lloyd.
I am as well. It's crazy to think he hasn't even taken a snap in a game situation for the South Carolina Gamecocks. So we'll get to see that today. I'm personally excited for Dakarian Joyner. He's been through a lot during this offseason, a lot of transitions for him. So it's going to be great to see him out there on the field tonight. I can't wait for it. But Wes, Jason Brown, he is a topic of conversation. Zeb Nolan obviously starting for the Gamecocks tonight, but people asking, when do you think we will see Jason Brown take his first snap in tonight's game?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think, as with anything, it's going to kind of depend on the flow of the game. Can South Carolina get out to a big lead early on? Or at some point, do they need a spark? Do they feel like they want to throw another quarterback in there to spark the offense? But, this is a team South Carolina should have a talent advantage over pretty much across the board. I expect them to be able to run the football, to probably control the game. If they can get into a situation where they have that 14, maybe 21-point lead at some point, later in the first half, I really think we could see Jason Brown in the second quarter. As you and I talked about, Jason handled this sort of experience of not winning the job. I would say better than most. Like, I don't know if I was I guess Jason's probably 20, 21, 22 years old. I don't think I would have handled it that well if I was in that situation. He goes in front of the media, answers every question, and was honest about it too, Kendall. It wasn't that he was like, I wasn't disappointed at all. You could see the disappointment on his face, but he still handled that disappointment, with grace. I thought is probably the word that comes to mind. So I think the coaching staff probably appreciated that. I think, they said earlier this week if he has a good week of practice, which I believe he has from what I've heard, that they want to get him in the game relatively early. So I would expect that, and I expect him to play well. This is not an SEC defense. This is not a big step up in competition for South Carolina by any means. So I think Jason Brown will play relatively early and play pretty well tonight.
He definitely deserves to be rewarded for the way in which he acted during that press conference. I shot you a text after, and I was like, Wes, I'm so sad for Jason Brown. Like, it's just so hard for me to watch this because he was so graceful during that situation, which would be hard for so many people. And you were like, yeah, you get winners and you get losers. And then you went back and rewatched it, and you were like, actually, I do feel really bad for him as well because, it's a tough situation, but hopefully he gets an opportunity to go out there tonight and prove himself. But we've got to talk about Shane Beamer because obviously the start of the Beamer era begins tonight at South Carolina. What do you foresee Coach Beamer's coaching personality being out there on the field? Do you think he's going to be a Will Muschamp where we've got him throwing visors and throwing tantrums, or do you think those positive outbursts are going to stay true for Coach Beamer during the season like he was during practice and in the offseason?
Yeah, Kendall, I think it has been a concerted effort from this entire staff to just stay positive. Some of that's their personality. I think some of that is because of everything this group of kids has gone through the last couple of years. From on the field, the lack of wins, from off the field, everything they've had to deal with. They've tried to stay positive. I think you're going to see probably a little bit of an emotional Shane Beamer as he runs out to 2001 for the first time. He may try to hide that a little bit, but I think inside he's going to be sort of thinking, I made it. Like this is it. I think he will quickly, take a deep breath and get back to the task at hand. But I think you're going to see a guy that we see the excitement, we see the energy from, but I don't think it's going to be more so like yelling in a negative, standpoint. I think it's going to be a positive guy. There's actually video clips you can see of him when he was special teams coach at South Carolina, jumping on players' backs and, hitting them on the helmets and stuff like that. Maybe a little, you pull it back just a little bit as the head coach, but I think you're going to see a guy that remains incredibly positive throughout this experience.
And he stayed open about how he will feel coming out to 2001 tonight, saying, I'm fired up. Like, he's not trying to hit us with the coach speak and say, like, it's fine. Like, it's just another game. I'm just doing my job. He's like, no, I'm excited to be here. And I think that's really great for the fan base to hear because you want to have somebody in that coaching position who's ready to go, who's amped up, and who's grateful to be a South Carolina Gamecock. But in terms of keys to victory tonight, Wes, what do you think the keys are for South Carolina in tonight's game, even though they have a pretty good chance at winning, I would say? What do they need to do to make sure that happens 100%?
Yeah, I think that South Carolina's offensive line and their running backs will set the tone for this game. I think if everything else were to just somehow go wrong, then South Carolina would sort of switch gears and say, look, we're going to give these running backs the football, and we're going to run the ball like every single time if we have to. I don't think it gets to that point. I think they're going to sort of have an opportunity to get out there and work on some different things, kind of get the passing game in rhythm, get Dakereon Joyner, as you talked about, and those wide receivers going and get their confidence up. I look at this game more, what I said was sort of a key to winning this game. I look at this game as saying there are some greater keys at play here, some keys for down the road. One, you got to stay healthy. Nobody wants to get somebody seriously injured in game one. Two, and sort of going along with that, you want to get a big enough lead that you can get these second teamers, third teamers, your freshmen, your newcomers, get as many guys in the game, let them sort of get those first game nerves out of the way. And to me, this will be a successful day. The score doesn't really matter. It will be successful if South Carolina can just operate its offense, operate its defense, get in and out of the huddle without delay of games, without operational penalties, because you think about it, new head coach, new coordinators across the board. This is the first time that this group of individuals has ever played a true opponent other than themselves together, So you're going to have little instances where maybe there's a miscommunication here, there's an issue there. But if they can minimize those things and sort of make it be a confidence-building experience for a lot of these guys, then that suits South Carolina very well going into ECU when you have the experience of going on the road for the first time.
You talk about the offense there, Wes. We had a couple of GC subscribers ask some questions, and one of those questions was, do you think the first offensive play of the game will be a running play or a passing play? So hit me with your prediction.
Yeah, all right. I'm going to go a play action pass. I think Zaquandre White will get the start at running back. That's my final prediction. That's been an or on the depth chart. So I think a play action pass, they're going to fake it to Zaquandre White, and our boy Big Nick Energy, Nick Muse, is going to get the first play of the season with a catch. Let's give him 11 yards and a first down. Is that a good enough answer?
I like it. I like it. We'll start off on a positive note. I think if we start off with a first down, we won't see any fire beamer tweets quite yet, but then give it like a couple minutes and you'll have your couple of people out there in the Twitter universe who are sharing their 2 cents. Wes, final game prediction for tonight. What's the score? How much is South Carolina beating Eastern Illinois by?
Well, I'm going to stick with what I wrote on the Insiders Forum. I think I said 52-13 there. So they're going to have to score some points to get there. I expect you maybe have a mishap here or there that leads to a touchdown or two, maybe from Eastern Illinois. As I said, if you're South Carolina, you're hoping you get some backups in. So, hey, going and making your first mistake is a part of it. Like, if you're South Carolina, you want to get a big enough lead and maybe you get your third string guys out there, and so what if Eastern Illinois scores a couple of times late? So that's where I'm sort of sitting at. I think South Carolina will win handily. How well they execute in the second half, once some other guys get in there, will probably determine what the actual score is. So for those degenerates out there, I think this line was in the low 40s and now is in the low 30s. So if you got in at 40 on the side of South Carolina, you probably went a little bit early on this one because you could get it at 31 now, I think, Kendall.
Wow, yeah, it's going to be a great game for sure. Hopefully a good way to start off the season for the South Carolina Gamecocks. No surprises from Eastern Illinois as we look to win this game, the first one of the Shane Beamer era. But Wes, thanks so much for sharing your final thoughts on today's game day chat on Gamecock Central. Again, anybody listening, Wes and I, we're not creative with names for segments. We have
not good with the names.
No, we have thought of a lot of names for various segments on Gamecock Central. None of them are great. So we know we have a lot of creative subscribers, and if you could just help us out, comment a name down below. Let us know what we should call this for the weekly segment that is now called the Game Day Chat, or whatever we're calling it. So Wes, thank you so much. We're looking forward to tonight. Go Gamecocks, everybody out there. Stay safe, be well, and we'll hope for a Gamecock win tonight.